Treyarch keeps adding in some golden things to the Blackout beta here within Black Ops for this upcoming week. Of course, we don't know exactly what the future still holds. There's one more limited time mode that was mentioned and is still currently withheld from what we had, but earlier today we got another update, and it was actually an update, not a playlist update, so it required you to download a 1.7 gigabyte patch, but this one allowed you to end up having a lot of things on offer. So today we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be running down the new game mode with you, as well as some changes that went down within the Blackout beta that I think honestly makes the game a lot of fun. It really does make some of the issues that we had a little easier to manage. It remedies some of them entirely, and also we got a little more updates as to the projected timeline of some things coming throughout the beta and maybe not. So that said, we're going to be talking about all of that here today, so why not just jump right into it. So the first thing, let's talk about the game mode, because this is a brand new LTM or limited time mode within Blackout. We saw one added in yesterday, that being Fast Collapse. That's already gone by the wayside, and we have a brand new one here within the beta called Close Quarters. Now this one is currently only solos only. Yesterday's Fast Collapse game mode was quads only, in which you could end up playing solo and duo, but you'd end up either having to fill or not fill, and you'd be going up against 4-man squads. But this one kind of goes on the opposite side of the spectrum, only solos only, so I'm gonna guess that maybe tomorrow's is duos. Who knows, but it is something that right now the Close Quarters playlist only includes SMGs, shotguns, handguns, and your fists. One thing that's also not mentioned, but it might be a little bit of a bug, is that there are actually launchers in this game mode as well. Not entirely sure if that's supposed to be in there, but I came across a situation where I had the opportunity to pick one up, and I actually even evaded a situation where somebody was trying to rocket launcher me from afar, but that's something that those are in there as well. You can of course still use all the vehicles like that. You can still run people over, get that carnage. Actually almost won a game by running somebody over in that limited time mode, but had to finish him off old school style with the SMG. But regardless, it's a lot of fun here. While solos might not be the most enjoyable thing, I think that I still would take duos and quads over solos, just because you have a little bit more of a tactical advantage here with this. You could end up flanking people, you could calculate out a specific move to take down a squad or something like that. Solos sometimes comes down to more RNG randomness, but regardless, it is still a ton of fun, and is one that if you have some time to kill, you can definitely just jump on. It's pretty fast paced still, even though you end up having only SMGs and close quarters things. That kind of makes the fight come a little closer, and of course, while it's not as fast paced as yesterday's Fast Collapse, in which it pushes literally everybody in way faster than the normal game mode, it still plays very well. That's available right now, presumably only for 24 hours. One thing that I'm really curious on though is how they're going to handle the limited time modes going for the rest of the beta, because starting tomorrow, Xbox One and PC users can hop on and play the Blackout beta as well. And so with PlayStation 4 already getting 2 limited time modes throughout their exclusivity period of the beta, I'm curious to see what will happen if we end up seeing these repeat, or how it'll work out like that. My guess is maybe we end up seeing the schedule already being Fast Collapse on Wednesday, today being Close Quarters, tomorrow a brand new unnamed and unknown one, and then Saturday we kind of go backwards in step, where we have the unnamed tomorrow, Saturday is Close Quarters, which is what we have today, and then we have Fast Collapse on Sunday once again to close out the beta into that Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time when everything is scheduled to go offline. That would be my guess, simply because I can't imagine that we have 2 exclusive game modes played only on PlayStation and not offered to Xbox One and PC for their weekend of the beta, but we'll see what time holds and all that kind of stuff. But Fast Collapse is available right now. Definitely jump on if you have the opportunity to. It's a lot of fun and definitely a different meta than that of what you'd see in a regular game of Blackout. But regardless, that is not the only thing that was changed out here with this update. Another thing that was also added in that's kind of just a cool thing that we can mention here is that we now have more characters to choose from. When you go in and take a look at your main menu right before you launch into a game or the staging area, you have the option to choose your character, to which previously all you had was the ability to choose one of the 10 specialists from Black Ops 4's multiplayer. That was the only thing available on offer for customization in a sense, but then as of today, we actually ended up getting the Blackout special characters unlocked, that being Mason, Menendez, Reznov, and Woods. So we have a couple of extra ones, and honestly, I gotta say, some of the animations for the wingsuits are pretty funny. Menendez is probably my favorite one out of the bunch with what it looks like, because he's in the battle with style, man. He's in a suit and everything like that, but his wingsuit is kind of just like a white webbing instead of what looks like an actual wingsuit. So kind of curious to know if that's like a little texture bug or something like that, but it just looks funny. But regardless, you can end up playing with 4 more characters. Mason, Menendez, Reznov, and Woods are now available to play, and maybe we end up seeing the zombies characters unlocked as well, since we still do have quite a bit of time on the beta. We're about that halfway point or approaching it for the week of the beta for Blackout. So maybe we end up seeing over the weekend, once everybody gets their hands on with Xbox Xbox and PC, that's when we see the zombies characters unlocked as well. So curious to see if that happens, but regardless, right now, still 4 more up on the table for you to choose from. One other awesome feature, which I honestly just heard talked about yesterday, and a lot of community involvement of, hey, that'd be a great idea. One thing that was added in immediately after that was kill cams within Blackout. So whereas previously would have fade to the sort of you're eliminated type of screen where it has that and then it whites out and you can choose to spectate or leave the match, now you have the option to actually find out where that player was that killed you, whether they were way off in the distance, you had no idea where you actually got shot from, you're genuinely curious, or if you don't really believe that you were still out in the open, you maybe rounded that corner, you can see the perspective of the player that killed you now. So that's something that it gives a little bit longer than that of a standard kill cam as well, which is only about 5 seconds. This seemed to be about 10 seconds. It gives a little bit more of a lead up to that kill, but then when it's also done, you end up going into spectating them. So it's a kind of seamless transition here with that. But that said, that was added in, and of course, a great feature that I think is going to help a lot of people, because I have died where I have no idea where the player's from. I've died where I don't really agree with the kill, but it is something that I can watch back now and see, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I actually was a little more vulnerable than I anticipated. After that, let's talk about some gameplay changes, because the big thing on the chopping block, and one that everybody wanted to have some sort of remedy for, was level 3 armor. That is something that this was now finally nerfed with today's update, and title update at that. The level 3 armor was officially nerfed. Now, yesterday there was a little bit of an update to it where it changed around the mechanics of it because it wasn't allowing explosive damage to do any harm to the armor itself, and so therefore explosives were a lot less viable in a sort of engagement. But now armor will break sooner and more damage will pass to the player wearing it. It still offers the headshot and other damage mitigation and the protection that it offers on that front, but level 2 armor was also minorly adjusted as well. There's not really much detail on that, whether it was a buff, a nerf, whatever it may be, but level 3 armor is now a little nerfed. It doesn't do as much sponging in gunfights, and that's something that I even noticed. I picked up a level 3 and I felt like I died a lot quicker than I was anticipating, but it is still something that, having gone up against it, still is definitely something that helps out, though of course how much, that really comes down to how many bullets you take and how well situated you are for an engagement. And additionally, if you go over time, if you take shots in an earlier gunfight, obviously you're not gonna have as much protection in a later gunfight because that health of the armor does not regen. One thing that I would honestly love to see is that if we could get some sort of health indicator for the armor actually, because I feel like, kind of now branching off into a different topic of discussion about armor in general, I feel like I've taken 1 or 2 shots and I don't know necessarily if it's better to pick up another one that I looted off a body or if it's something that I should just hope to find one on the ground that is a fresh spawn, but I'd love to see that sort of thing added in as well. So Treyarch, if you're watching, feel free to do your thing on that one. Love to see that, and I don't think I'd be the only one. But that said, the other change that was made here for this was actually to Perk Consumables. Now, this was something that the Perk Consumables seemed to be 4 to 5 seconds whenever you went to activate it. They've actually now changed it so that all perks take 2 seconds to activate instead of just a handful that did previously. That's something that Treyarch doesn't know if they're going to keep this as a permanent change going into the full launch of the game come October, or if it's going to be something that they just play around with for the next couple of days and then maybe revert back at the end of the beta, or maybe even once again once the game launches next month. But that is something that, for the time being, if you want to go and use a perk, it's now going to take a little bit less time to activate. A few final details mentioned, we'll rapid fire these off here. Item pickup proximity, they're working on an adjustment here so that you don't have to look down at every single item when you pick it up. They also said though that they don't know if that's going to be something available in the beta, and it might just be available at day 1 of the Blackout launch next month. Footsteps are something they're working on, and it's going to be something they're taking steps to make your teammates' footsteps sound not only a little bit quieter, but also tying this into a perk adjustment is that the awareness perk is going to mute your teammates' footsteps even further. So while they're going to make it quieter on one end, if you end up activating a perk, it'll pretty much mute your entire teammates' footsteps as well, and you'll be able to hear pretty much just everything else around you. So that's definitely something great, and they said they're going to be working on that so that they can get it in by the end of the beta. Bullet penetration had a little bit of an issue with this where windows were blocking first shots, and so therefore you might be left in a gunfight wondering where your shot went or something similar, but also ceilings also were not allowing damage to be passed through. But walls, fences, and tarps like that were something that were, so they're gonna be making adjustments accordingly. One also thing that I don't know if they ended up picking up is that in train station, the train's glass actually can't shoot through it at all. So that's something that hopefully gets a little fixed as well, or if it's designed as such, I guess we'll see that it doesn't get any change. The kill feed is going to be something that is going to be adjusted for the final launch of the game, not during the beta, but they're going to be adding in some things in which it's going to be easier to recognize that your teammates are downed and killed instead of just seeing the name pop up. So that'll be something you can end up expecting for the final launch of the game. Merits as well as leveling were something that were mentioned, where they said right up front that leveling right now has really no meaning, it's just kind of there, but they're also going to be tweaking the system to allow merits to accurately be credited, because right now it seems like you get 3 credits per win or top 5 finish, I think, but then kills don't really go into that, even though it says on the scoreboard they should. So in theory, come launch, you should be able to rank up much faster, and probably there's going to be things associated with that as well. The wingsuit's initial base jump is also going to be adjusted, where there's a little bit of an exploit, if you want to call it that, but it's really just the design of it right now, is that if you jump down immediately, you can actually outrun the helicopters. So that's something they're going to be fixing, the adjustments of that, and also the speed of when you level out, but hopefully it shouldn't really take away from how far you can go. I'm hoping that's not something that is really messed with. But the final thing that is mentioned is the collapse of the zone or storm. With that, right now they're testing out different damage ticks if you end up staying in the zone, because there are people that actually can stay out there, and until late game, whenever it starts to tick 6 per second, it is something that you can just camp zone, which is obviously not the objective in the way that you are meant to play it, but it's available as an option. So maybe that's something that they test around. The further into the storm you are, the more damage it does, or whatever it may be, but that's something they're adjusting and may make it towards the end of the beta, but right now it might just look like it's at the launch of the game. But that said, that is what we all have here for the brand new mode, brand new cool stuff unlocked, and of course, a bunch of changes that have already happened and a bunch that are on the horizon. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to hear out of this change? Is there anything you're looking forward to hopefully being changed in the near future? Whatever it may be, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty, all things Blackout, Black Ops 4, World War II. We got you covered here up on the channel, so if any of that interests you, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter, best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube, practically live on Twitter. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Also, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, a little more active over there, so that link is down there as well. So that said, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. My name's Espresso. Take care and peace.